fine, I'll go it alone. Just like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
It's so funny, too, that you keep calling me Meghan. You know, it's Meghan now.
I feel like the focus is starting to shift off of me. Maybe in editing you'll fix it.
People were saying meh. It's not meh. It's pronounced me. The H is silent.
Sir, your millions from Netflix for no one knows what.
Put it with the rest of them.
Trying to make ourselves into a brand just turned us into products. We don't need to be a brand, do we?
This might be the smallest palace I've ever been in.
An apartment.
I thought we were moving forward, Meghan.
Well, we're not.
Dad, do you have any cash for a cab? Oh, look. Grandma's on the money. I never noticed that before.
Babe, time to do our daily $250,000 sponsored Instagram post for Del Taco.
I shouldn't have left the made-up nonsense.
They begged for privacy. South Park gave them a worldwide roast. Now Prince Harry's trapped in a nightmare he can't control. And this time, no palace, no lawyer, and no PR team can save him. They left the royal family for peace, but a cartoon turned their escape into a spectacle. South Park's takedown of Harry and Meghan went viral fast. It wasn't just funny, it stung.
We have to get jobs. I have to start auditioning again.
You were on the very famous show Suits. More popular in the States than even Friends, you told us.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes, Harry wasn't laughing. He thought it would blow over. But then came the whispers, a second episode, and this time, it would be worse. Inside Montecito, panic set in. Because this wasn't just a joke anymore. It was a full-blown crisis.
Built electric cars, he's going to Mars. Why isn't he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits.
It started as a joke. A single South Park episode mocking Harry and Meghan's worldwide privacy tour. But it didn't land like just any late-night skit. It hit like a cultural grenade. Clips flooded Twitter. Memes exploded across TikTok. News anchors couldn't stop quoting it. Harry had seen bad press before. But this wasn't criticism. It was humiliation, scripted, animated, and aired worldwide. What made it worse?
And something that you taught me is that when we break something and it's broken, it's not broken. It can be healed. There's even more beauty in the break. It still has value.
I'm so sorry, Meghan. You have a phone call. It's your father. Thomas Markle?
Even people who supported the couple started laughing. Their carefully curated image, independence, authenticity, purpose was reduced to two cartoon characters demanding privacy while chasing cameras. Behind the scenes, Harry wasn't just angry. He was rattled. Friends say he believed this would be a one-time thing. But he was wrong, because whispers had already started online. A second episode was in the works, and this one would cut even deeper.
Harry, though, has become the punchline of a Saturday Night Live joke. Let's have a look.
NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits, which will be set in Los Angeles. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant.
The vibe in Montecito changed overnight. What used to be a slow, sunny media routine turned into full-on crisis mode. Leaked storyboards, Reddit speculation, parody titles. Their team was now monitoring it all, every hour. Meetings grew tense. PR advisors clashed. Should they ignore it or strike back? One group warned, staying silent looks weak. Another shot back, fighting it gives it fuel. And what made it worse? The palace.
Back by changing our brand. All right, and I do see you're in our database, but you didn't first get help at this Cumhammer location?
No, my wife went to one in California as a child.
Ah, okay, then you must be in the national system. Oh yeah, is this you? Sorority girl, actress, influencer, victim.
Yeah, that's totally me.
Okay, I see, and then you added your husband to your friends and family account. You must be the Royal Prince Millionaire World Traveler victim.
That's right.
While Harry scrambled to control the damage, insiders say Buckingham Palace found the whole thing amusing. They said nothing publicly, but subtle smirks in interviews and no comment. Responses told Harry everything. Therefore, the panic grew, not just because of South Park's reach, but because Harry realized he was fighting alone. And the second episode, It wasn't a rumor anymore. It was coming.
You know, why jam, Tom? Why jam? Why jam,
Why care?
Does she want to be, you know, seen as a traditional wife now rather than a grand humanitarian politico, Tom?
I mean, if she does, I mean, good on her. I can't,
I'm half winding you up. You must know that. You must know that.
That's when the lawyers stepped in. Harry's team tried everything. Could they call it defamation? Was it violating UK privacy law? Could they play the child protection? Angelson's Archie was referenced, but none of it stuck. Why? Because South Park lives inside a fortress built from free speech, satire protections, and decades of legal victories. What made it worse? Even if they had a case, the backlash of suing a cartoon would have been 10 times worse than staying silent. It would look petty, desperate.
When was the last time you twerked, Alex?
I don't think I've ever twerked in my life.
You must have.
Really? I genuinely mean that. If there's any footage that ever comes out of me twerking, I'll pay for all your pints one night. How about that?
Meghan, she's an American celebrity, so I can kind of forgive her for it.
It's definitely her idea.
She's like, Prince Harry is a prince of the realm. You imagine the centuries of history and tradition in this country, the respectful organisations that he was or is an ambassador of, the military, and you're behaving like that and happy to release it in public. I mean, it's just so demeaning.
Yeah, she's a narcissist and he's quite thick.
One legal advisor allegedly said, "You can't sue comedy. Not here." And the palace? Still quiet. No support. No statement. In private, royal sources reportedly called it Sussex fallout, a mess they walked into on their own. Therefore, Harry had no choice. He couldn't stop the episode, and the clock was ticking. So Harry turned to plan B, influence. He made calls. Meghan reached out to old contacts. The hope? Get someone powerful to intervene, pull favors, slow things down. But what they got back was silence. Some execs gave polite nods. Others offered sympathy, but refused to get involved. And a few were brutally honest. It's South Park. No one touches them. What made it worse? Even lifestyle influencers, once eager to align with Meghan's brand, backed off.
You're the same.
You're the same.
Like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, guys, you don't gotta do this. Please, I'm begging you to stop.
They didn't want the smoke. Not from a cartoon that could destroy reputations in under 22 minutes. Harry even tried to swap goodwill, offering appearances, podcasts, even tying it to mental health campaigns. But the answer was clear. No one was willing to go up against South Park. Therefore, the reality hit hard. Their Hollywood clout. The brand they'd spent years building wasn't enough.
By the way, I love your Luke. Sorry, what's that? You're Luke. You look amazing. You're Luke.
My Luke. My Luke. My look. She likes my Luke.
They weren't calling the shots anymore. The episode hadn't even aired yet, but the internet was already on fire. Within hours of the leak, #Pillow of Truth was trending. TikTok creators reenacted the fake scene. YouTubers posted reaction videos before the full parody even dropped. It wasn't just satire anymore. It was a digital wildfire. What made it worse? People weren't just laughing at the sketch. They were reopening old wounds. Conspiracy theories that had been long buried, the pillow bump, the rumored use of body doubles, the heavily redacted birth certificates, all came surging back into mainstream conversation.
But to the world, it's just, what has she been doing? Does she work? As opposed to, oh my gosh, I work so hard.
Therefore, Meghan's public image, which had just begun to stabilize, was once again in question. Not by the press, not by officials, but by TikTokers, meme pages, and anonymous Reddit sleuths who suddenly had a second wind. And here's where it got even messier. Influencers and pop culture commentators who once treaded lightly around the couple began to flip. One by one, voices that had supported them started posting videos like, "Were we wrong about Meghan?" The parody that might be more accurate than we thought.
These two are now an international embarrassment for the royal family, and I really, really do think that the time has come to strip the titles.
These weren't tabloids. These were regular people with millions of followers, reshaping the narrative with humor and sarcasm. What made it worse? The more Harry's team tried to correct the record, the worse the backlash became. Clarification posts were taken as proof of guilt. Deleted comments were screenshotted instantly. Attempts to fight the memes only fueled the fire. And the algorithm didn't care. Each outrage post, each satirical remix was pushed higher and higher. The internet wasn't picking a side. It was choosing whatever content got clicks. And right now, Parody was outperforming sympathy by a landslide. Therefore, the sentiment shifted. Positive chatter dropped. Neutral observers turned skeptical. Even silence began to feel like mockery.
You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Wah.
Harry, once the underdog prince, was now being labeled things like the clueless husband, the accidental court jester, and worse. And the most brutal irony, every time someone tried to defend him, the joke only got louder. That's the thing about the internet. When you become the meme, you lose control. And for Harry and Meghan, control was everything.
Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I are totally like, you should write a book because your family's like stupid, and then so are like journalists.
While the internet laughed, the real damage started quietly behind the scenes in inboxes and boardrooms. At first, it was just hesitation. Sponsors of the Invictus Games, one of Harry's most cherished projects, began asking questions. Not about the event, but about the image attached to it.
So you hate journalists? That's right. And now you wrote a book that reports on the lives of the royal family. Right. So you're a journalist.
Then came the emails. Considering the current media climate, let's delay our announcement. Can we revisit this next quarter? What made it worse? It wasn't just Harry's causes that took the hit. Meghan's podcast, Archetypes, which had been poised for a second season, suddenly went quiet. Internal sources claimed new deals were paused, and some collaborators were reconsidering brand alignment. Therefore, the parody didn't just dent their pride, it hit their wallets. And the worst part? There were no clean options left. Harry's team floated two possible redemption strategies. Lean into humility, issue a self-aware, even humorous response. Show they're in on the joke. Flip the narrative. Use the backlash to fuel a new cause. Turn ridicule into purpose, maybe something around media harm or digital bullying. Here's the problem. Option 1 risked looking desperate. Option 2 risked appearing manipulative. Both had the potential to blow up, and neither guaranteed a win. What made it even worse? Cultural perception had begun to crystallize. In online culture, once a joke sticks, it becomes part of your identity. And Harry's new identity, somewhere between punchline, pity project, and PR disaster. Meanwhile, back in London, the palace maintained its eerie silence. No statement, no support, but insiders say the royal staff were quietly fascinated. One former aide reportedly described the entire situation as a car crash you can't look away from. Therefore, Harry faced the worst outcome of all, not hatred, not outrage, but irrelevance. He wasn't dominating headlines. He was trending as a joke. And that's the cruelest twist. When the world stops debating you and starts laughing instead, the damage is already done. By now, Harry wasn't trying to fight the meme. He was trying to survive it. Every move he made, every public appearance, every interview clip was now filtered through a different lens. Not royal, not victim, not activist, just parody. What made it worse? The damage wasn't always visible. No angry headlines, no explosive scandals, just the slow, steady drip of public detachment. Even longtime supporters began quietly stepping back. Podcasters, journalists, influencers, people who had once defended the couple fiercely, stopped talking altogether. Silence became the new statement. Therefore, the real danger wasn't being mocked. It was being forgotten. And with South Park preparing to drop the second episode, now rumored to include segments mocking their parenting, business ventures, and even their spiritual advisors, Harry and Meghan were running out of road. Legal teams had no case. PR strategies only backfired. And worse, every defense triggered more memes. Because once the internet decides you're the joke, there is no delete button. Even their most loyal fans started facing backlash. Defending the couple online now meant stepping into a digital war zone, not just from critics, but from creators who saw mockery as engagement gold. Here's the terrifying part. This wasn't just a cultural moment. It was turning into a cultural memory, something kids would reference, something late-night hosts would recycle. something brands would cautiously distance themselves from. Harry wasn't just losing a media battle. He was losing control of his own narrative permanently. In the end, Harry didn't get canceled. He didn't get sued. He didn't get silenced. He got laughed at. And in today's culture, that's a different kind of exile. Because when satire lands harder than your truth, when a cartoon version of you becomes more believable than the real thing, what do you do next? Do you fight it, own it, or disappear? The world's watching. The second episode is coming. And this time, even Harry knows. The wave isn't stopping. Was South Park just holding up a mirror? Or did they go too far? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want the full story behind the next episode, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next.